On this episode, we'll take one of my favorite show bikes and convert it for vintage style downhill racing on a 1970s style track. It's a 1976 Webco Monoshock. This 1976 Webco Monoshock project was phase 2 of my quest to race vintage 1970s suspension BMX bikes. After racing my full suspension Yamaha Moto-Bike, I realized a Monoshock would be the best choice for my next race, Texas Classic BMX Days, in June of 2023 in Floresville, Texas. With the build-up and excitement leading up to it, Texas Classic BMX Days was shaping up to be an event I did not want to miss. But this time, I wanted to step it up a notch and compete to win, which would be a daunting task considering I would be racing against East Coast legend Mike Savage. Mike was already undefeated in vintage BMX suspension racing on his tricked-out Huffy Monoshock. So I made the difficult decision to convert my best show bike into the screaming fast machine you'll see in this video. My old friend Anthony Chambers was on board to race in Texas too. He had an old Huffy Monoshock and was getting it ready as well. So Anthony and I drove south to Texas to battle with Mike and his famous Huffy. In the motos, we got closer to Mike than ever before. And then in the main event, Anthony actually got the whole shot. And he led Mike through turn 1. But Mike powered by on the second straight. Then, in turn 2, I dove low and was in second. After that, Anthony picked up speed and passed me again. Mike was gone, and the battle was Huffy versus Webco for second. Coming out of turn 3, I made the final pass on Anthony to take second place. So what did I learn from this race? First of all, it was more than apparent that a 1976 Webco is way too small for me, even with the modifications. It was obvious that Huffy Monoshocks were the premier choice, so all sights were now set on Frogtown Classic BMX Days in September. This is where I'd get on board Team Huffy. So I switched my Webco back to the original show condition. I even entered it in some bike shows. At the Omaha BMX Bike Show, it took first place in the Best Restored category. So that's my Webco story. Now, let's dig into this build. I actually had a Webco Monoshock back in 1975. It was the first year that Webco made a Monoshock, and it had a single gusset. The 1976 model, they came out with a double plate design with a plate on either side. I don't know what other changes they might have made. I just remember it was one of my favorite bikes of all time. By around 1976, we realized that although the shock bikes were cool and they were fun to jump, they were just way too springy for actual racing. I mean, every time you pedaled, it would, move. So we, quickly went to things like a Redline squareback or a Mongoose frame. So I traded my Webco Monoshock off for a Mongoose, and I don't know whatever happened to it. At the ABA Grand Nationals, we had a vintage show, which they have every year. And my good friend from Oklahoma, Cash Matthews, had this bike. He offered me the opportunity to purchase it from him, and I did. I've hesitated to even ride this thing because it's got Motomag 1s, and not just any Motomag 1s, they're the ones that are stamped Simi Valley on the casting, which means they were made in Skip Hess's garage. The later Motomag 1s actually say Chatsworth, California. So these wheels are like super rare. This bike is just loaded with ultra rare moto goodness, including these Redline forks, some of the first tubular forks in the BMX market. It's fully kitted out with Ashtabula cranks and an Ashtabula stem, which are really hard to find in this condition. One thing I found out after going to Dirty Fest in California and racing my Yamaha Moto-Bike, which is a dual suspension bike, is that the same thing holds true now that held true in 1975 and 76. Monoshocks are faster than shocks in the front and the back. That's why I'm converting this thing for racing. Since I don't want these Motomags to get dirty, I'm replacing them with some more modern, lightweight aluminum wheels with an actual cassette hub, which means I'll have to rig up a linear pull handbrake, but I have a plan for that. I've got a way to put profile cranks on here
So I'm going to put some 180 millimeter profile cranks on it. I've got a few other tricks up my sleeve as well. The reason I'm replacing the seat is this one is made out of plastic. The rails are plastic, so I'm going to replace it with one with metal rails. I thought that these S&M 9 3/4 inch rise handlebars would be the right height for me. Kind of found out maybe they're a little too tall for this bike. And then also the tangent stem that I have is only about a 50mm stem. When standing up pedaling, I was hitting my knees on the crossbar, which is difficult to avoid when you're riding a 1976 frame with an 18.5 inch top tube. My friend Chris had a stem. It's a limited edition stem by Snap from about 15-20 years ago, and it's a 70mm. I'm hoping that'll push my bars out far enough to keep my knees from banging on the crossbar. I'll swap out the bars with these 9-inch rise fly handlebars, and if all goes right, I'll have this stem powder coated black and we'll be in business. After racing the Webco Monoshock at Texas Classic BMX Days, I decided, although it was fast and it was fun to ride, number one, it's maybe too valuable to keep racing. I don't want to break it. And number two, it just looked cool with the moto mags on it and the Ashtabula cranks and stem. And gonna put it back to the way it was as a show bike. Another reason I'm taking apart the Webco is I plan on racing a different bike at the next event, which is called Frogtown Classic BMX Days. I'm gonna go with a Huffy Monoshock because it's actually an inch or two longer in the front end and also about an inch and a half or 2 inches taller. You know, I like the Huffies. Two other guys are racing Huffies, including my friend Anthony. It was a short run for the Webco Monoshock, but I took second place on it, and that's good enough for me. I hope you enjoyed this video about my 1976 Webco Monoshock. Thanks for watching, and please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Hey Radmattic fans, check out radmattic.com for cool BMX and cycling t-shirts and apparel. We have plenty to choose from, with more in development. Celebrate the vintage days of BMX racing. Proudly display your enthusiasm for all things BMX and cycling. Each shirt comes in multiple colors and sizes. Buying shirts at radmattic.com is one way you can help support this channel. Until next time, stay rad and keep doing it in the dirt.